Good morning, it's time for Sunday Morning Sounds. Let's get right into some brand new hip hop for you. First up this episode, let's go all the way to Houston, Texas with Maxo Kream. Brandon Banks is the name of the album. That's sort of his alias. He changed his name to Brandon Banks. Imakwanim, if I'm saying that correctly. It's an African name, his original name. He got tired of explaining it. My name is Dan Quay. I get you, brother. Trust me. This album is boom-bastic, in your face. He has a very whoosh, whoosh kind of style. Very ba 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 ba. But he gives you quality content, and he tells great stories of how he went into the streets as Brandon Banks after he changed his name. He had this new identity to play with, so he used it to scam. He used it to run all kinds of schemes in the streets, and he talks about how he brought the heat on his family, how that caused he and his family to fall out, how he brought all this pain on his mom, how his dad was in and out of his life, in and out of jail, how he was in and out of jail. I mean, it's really painful storytelling, and it's really vivid. It makes you feel like you're almost a family member, like you already knew it, and you're just hearing a retelling of it. So it's really powerful stuff, mixed with, you know, some good old thug shit, some good old party shit. He doesn't seem like the club type, really, but he's definitely got a couple of beats, a couple of radio reminiscent feels, if I'll say that, if I can make up that word real fast. But check it out. Brandon Banks is the album. That's the follow-up to Pumpkin, his debut album on Rock Nation. Still on Rock Nation, still delivering. This is Maxo Kream. Check him out. Next up, Chance the Rapper with The Big Day. Album is too long. I'll be straight up with y'all. Album is too long. He put too much music out here. He should have picked a couple of them and made it shorter, because while it is a fun journey and there's a lot to it, if you're not me and you're not a super duper student studying what's going on there, he will lose some people along this journey. But put it on shuffle. I guarantee you there's about 6, 7, 8 tracks out of the 22 that you will absolutely love. And there'll be about 6, 7, 8 of them that you'll not feel so good about, and then you'll be indifferent about something. But overall, it's a journey into jazz, I say. The way he approaches building the songs, the way he has collaborators instead of features, it's kind of fun digging through the sounds and figuring out who's who. And I called it a love letter to Chicago. And a lot of people in hip-hop don't understand what was happening here. Some tracks are drill tracks. Some tracks are juke tracks. Some tracks are house tracks. That's right, house music is a black art form, is a black music from Chicago. There's R&B, there's soul. He's talking about his family, he's talking about his life, he's talking about what inspires him recently. So there's so much content to hear here, and and I think he just lost some people, and he will lose some people. But if you're really looking for some deep content, you're really looking for a lot to listen to, Chance does deliver a lot. 22 songs, an hour 17 minutes. It's a love letter to Chicago. So if you've never really heard any of those Chicago art forms, check them out. It's Chance the Rapper with The Big Day. Next up, YBN Cordae, of course, from the YBN gang, with the debut album, The Lost Boy. So The Lost Boy really kind of refers to how he's felt since he lost his grandmother, and he's kind of been wandering through this life. And he started off sort of garnering some sort of fame, if you will, as part of a video game clique, and kind of worked over into music, and quickly has come of age. The boy can fucking rap. If you haven't seen him, the SNL skit with Anderson .Paak, the energy was incredible. The Double XL freshman freestyle, incredible stuff. Put bars, held his own. People argue ranking 1, 2, 3. I think we can all kind of agree the baby won, but 2 and 3 spot we can argue about YBN Cordae. He did really, really well for himself, and he's been showing up like that for himself. This album, there's a lot of gospel influence, which we didn't really see coming. Big veteran names, Pusha T, Meek Mill, Chance the Rapper's up there, Ty Dolla $ign. Of course, we call Ty Dolla $ign hip-hop's catch-up. Goes good on everything. So it's really those cosigns mixed with him actually having the bars to back it up and holding his own with those cosigners. It really is a solid debut. The most solid we've seen in a long time. Maybe the best debut of 2019. So check him out. The Lost Boy, YBN Cordae. Next up, we got my man, Big K.R.I.T, King Remembered in Time. K.R.I.T here. K.R.I.T is here. Title track. K.R.I.T here is just jamming. All kinds of horns. Just, ooh, it's nice. It's just beautiful, beautiful orchestration, beautiful arrangement. K.R.I.T is at his very finest when it comes to the bars. Honestly, the most underrated rapper. I can say that pretty much unequivocally. The most underrated and underserved and underappreciated rapper in hip-hop. He consistently delivers some of the hardest bars out there, some of the best beats, some of the most original beats, some of the most original sampling and vision, and always big picture. His projects are always overall picture, never just pieces and bits. And he comes really hard on this one. I would say this could stand as K.R.I.T's masterpiece in the way that Daytona was Pusha T's. Yeah, we all have favorite K.R.I.T verses and favorite K.R.I.T features and favorite K.R.I.T past stuff, but this is K.R.I.T being the best K.R.I.T. If he's wearing K.R.I.T as an outfit, this is the best K.R.I.T costume he's put on to date, in my opinion. So definitely check it out if you're a fan. If you're still not aware of Big K.R.I.T, get from under that rock, because you are not doing yourself justice, not doing yourself service. Big K.R.I.T is here. Next up, Futuristic, a veteran of Sunday Morning Sounds. He's had a few projects here before. His new album, I Am. Dot, 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 dot. A lot of dots, you'll see it there. So, Futuristic I Am is really about his kind of self-aware self-journey into self. That's a lot of self, but he does talk a lot about his growth since the last project, how his growing fame, of course, affects those around you, affects your perception of the world, affects your bank account, all these different things, because he's gotten some placements in different video games and movie licensing and different things like that. So, you know, things are changing around him, and it's really affecting the music, which is always awesome to hear. Now, as far as the beat selection, there are some jazz notions in there. There's still some sort of spacey feels and sounds that you never have heard before, which fits with the name Futuristic and the brand that he kind of shoots for. So definitely, if you've never heard of him, the boy has crazy bars if you're looking for bars. Some of those type of verses you gotta rewind and say, what the fuck did you say? So check him out, Futuristic, I Am. Next up, all the way from up top in Canada, Filth the Enabler with Filth Monroe. This album definitely has an interesting sound. It's almost like if you could imagine like a very vinyl feel, very old school. I wouldn't necessarily say lo-fi, because he also mixes that in with some very, very new school sounds. But the bars are very prevalent. These Canadian rappers are coming, man. They're smart and they're aware. And they know that hip-hop needs the bars. The bars are becoming the focus again of these songs. So he takes these simple samples and makes them really epic, these like movie quotes and stuff like that, makes them really epic, and then puts these big persistent bars behind it. What I mean by persistent is when he switches flows, he doesn't make a big to-do about it. He just like he just kind of moves right into the next bar and keeps giving you lyrics and imagery and things like that. So it's really dope stuff. Newness out of Canada for you. Filth the Enabler, Filth Monroe. Check them out. Next up, out of Canada, all the way from up top with some gifts for us, Databanks. Not Day Day. It may appear as Day Day. Databanks. So he comes in with We Should Go to Japan. That seems to be a running theme in hip-hop recently, but again, these Canadian rappers are on their way. He actually runs in the same circle as another featured artist recently, Filth the Enabler. They have a lot of tracks with one another and are friends. So Databanks comes really hard with the bars, very similar to his friend Filth, very persistent with the bars, but his track selection is much different, much more instrumental, much more floaty, much more vibey, much more sort of almost background music, and he really sort of features the words out front, really puts the words on display. And there's a lot of words here on display, a lot of imagery again, a lot of passion to it. You can really tell he's a student of hip-hop and a student of the bars. So check these guys out. This is Databanks with We Should Go to Japan. Of course, as always, making everything look beautiful, Mark Keeps One Road. Check him out, the IG. And as always on the beat, at Versus Beats. Thank you, Sean. Blue Cloud Radio bringing you the latest in indie, entrepreneurship, culture, fashion, pop, alt, and the streets. 24-hour radio as well. Put your art up there, put your song up there, put your store up there. Hit a link, hit them up, buy a jacket. Your host, @_Dan Quaid on Twitter, hashtag Sunday Morning Sounds everywhere you can think of, at Sunday Morning Sounds is the place to be. A lot more IGTV content coming, so always be looking out for alerts there. Follow the hashtag @Sunday Morning Sounds. Again, we love you. Thank you for coming out.